Recording is on.
All right, good morning. Welcome everyone. LisaBug Yoga today, and have a couple other people logging in I see now. So welcome everybody. Our LisaBug Yoga by the pool got rained out today. So we are virtual and online. And our focus today is hamstrings. So a lot of forward folds, using a strap if you have one, or a necktie or a scarf, something you can loop under the bottom of your foot, will really be handy in our practice today. So let's begin on our back, but I want you to have your strap close so you don't have to sit up and grab hold of it when we need it. So just have it right next to your mat. And let's come on down onto your back. If you need a little bit of a pillow for the back of the head or a towel to roll under the back of the neck, to make your head feel a little bit more comfortable, that would be wonderful. So we're just going to start in our Shavasana this morning. And just find a nice lengthened position here on your mat. Your feet are maybe slightly wider than your hips. Toes gently turned out. And just notice the length of your spine from the crown of your head to your tailbone. And even on the mat, we can increase that length. So you might need to pick up your shoulder blades a little bit, set them back down, and then really lengthen your head. And when you lay on the mat, if your chin is tipping up to the ceiling, you might need a little bit of a pillow behind your head to just bring that head position to neutral. The distance between the fronts of the shoulders is broad and the heart is open. We'll just come into a 3-part breath this morning. So the inhalation has 3 sections. The first section, we let the belly float up and pause. The second section, the middle of the rib cage, flares out laterally. Pause. And the last section of the breath, the heart center rises upward. Then we exhale that in reverse. The heart sinks down. The rib cage flares inward. And the belly sinks. At your own pace, just flow through this 3-part breath. This will help us to clear our mind and prepare for our practice this morning. Allow the breath to be fluid and slow and deep. And everything's relaxed in your body as you breathe. Two more cycles of our 3-part breath. And then just return to a normal breath flow, in and out through the nose. then either eyes still closed or open, we'll place the left foot to the mat with your left knee bent. Bring your right foot to parallel, and on an inhale, lift your leg up and try to keep it straight. And on an exhale, lower it back down until it just floats off the floor. Inhaling to lift, exhaling to lower. Now with the ankle, as you inhale and lift, flex your foot, bringing your heel to the ceiling. And as you lower, point your foot. So we start to get some movement through the ankle, flexing and pointing. Now as you move through this, bring your awareness to your pelvis and make sure you're not rocking through your pelvis at all as you're doing this dynamic hamstring stretch. So you are using the muscles of your quadricep and hip flexor to lift the leg up, which helps you to release the hamstring and allow it to stretch. And as that leg lengthens, you might feel you can lift it a little higher as we move through the repetitions. And if you can, when this leg lifts, it's fairly straight. It might have a little bit of a small bend, but try to keep it as straight as you can. And one more repetition. Inhaling, lift, flexing the ankle. Exhaling to lower. And just pull that knee into your chest. Circle the ankle a couple of times each direction. And then if you have your strap handy, let's go ahead and grab that. And when you place it under the bottom of your foot, place it under the ball of your foot rather than the arch. And we'll extend that right leg that we've been stretching right up to the ceiling. Now, if you can, try to relax your shoulder blades and even bring your elbows down. I want you to try to relax here through your arms and not feel like you're up here just really gripping. So just relax. And then if this bottom left leg feels better, you can lengthen it out. And that'll give you a little bit of a release through your left hip flexor. So the right foot is flexed, which is a nice reason for using that strap under the ball of the foot. If you place it under the arch, then sometimes you can get a toe point, and we lose that stretch through the posterior chain. Now come back to your 3-part breath. Inhaling belly, ribs, heart. Exhaling heart, ribs, and belly. So just continuing that 3-part breath, if you'd like, through the hold, or just returning to a normal breath is fine as well. And then bring your awareness to your right patella, your kneecap, and try to tighten the quadricep muscle and feel that patella drawing up, up, up. So we're engaging into the quad so that the leg isn't relaxed in the front of the thigh. This is known as reciprocal inhibition. So when we tighten the front of the thigh, the back of the thigh has to relax. And you might find over time that you can bring the stretch in a little bit closer. Now, holding onto your strap just with your left hand, take this right leg and slightly bring it across your body. So it's not a twist. I still have my right hip down, but this is just coming across at a small angle. So I still have the hamstring release, but now the IT band that flows from the outside of the knee to the hip is now placed on stretch. And then noticing the outside of your shin on that right side, if you take your right foot and turn it inward, you'll feel a little bit more stretch along the outside of the shin. It's a difficult muscle to find to stretch, peroneus longus. That's a part of the complex of your calf muscle. Excellent. Bring that leg back to neutral. Release the strap from the bottom of the foot. And lower that right foot down to where the knee is bent on the mat. And now with the breath, the left leg lifts as you inhale. The foot is flexed. And point and lower as you exhale. And just find a nice rhythm with this breath. So we're using a dynamic stretch to both lengthen the muscle and warm it up at the same time. There's so many different styles of flexibility work, different regimes of stretching the muscles. And as long as we're not forcefully bouncing, we can actually move in and out of the stretch dynamically. Just kind of noticing what you feel on this side as compared to the right side. Bring your awareness back to your pelvis and make sure that your tailbone isn't tucking under as you lift that leg up. Just a nice gentle range of motion. You might even feel some heat building, a little bit of work, almost a little fatigue in the front of the thigh and shin as you move through this exercise. And we'll take 2 more repetitions. Last one. And then bring that left knee into your chest. Circle the ankle around 2 or 3 times each direction. And then prepare your strap under the bottom of that foot, the ball of the foot specifically. And as we take the leg up, we try to find a good straight position, even if the leg needs to be down here in order to get it straight. And then let your shoulders relax. Bring your elbows kind of down towards the mat so you're not using your arms too much in gripping. And then this right leg can lengthen out down onto the floor if that feels okay for you. And we hold our hamstring stretch with maybe 3 or 4 rounds of the 3-part breath. The lower leg, right leg can be relaxed, or you can energize that leg a little bit. Straighten it, fire up the muscles, flex the ankle. You choose on that side, whatever feels best for you. whenever you'd like, return to a normal breath flow, and then bring your awareness to the kneecap on this left side, the patella. And if you tighten your thigh muscle here, you'll feel that patella draw up slightly, and this frees up the back of the leg for a little bit more release and movement. We want to make sure that the muscles are never shaking here. If we feel a quiver or a shake, just relax it for a couple of breaths and then come back in slowly. We never want our body to fight the stretch. And what that's an indication of is the stretch reflex. Now let's take the strap into the right hand and very, very slightly bring that left leg across toward the midline of the body, maybe a little bit more. IT band stretch. And then to lengthen the outside of the calf, turn the ankle inward. And this can be a fairly intense stretch for people who maybe are doing a lot of bike riding during the pandemic or a lot of running. You can get very, very tight in the IT band area. So take your time, stretch and breathe. One more nice breath in. And let it all go, bringing that leg back to neutral. And release the strap. All right, let's roll to your side and press yourself up to seated. We are going to come into a wide leg stretch, taking your feet on the mat long ways. If you're on a hardwood floor, it's kind of nice to have maybe a little extra padding under your heels. And then just sit really tall and lengthened. Flex your feet up. And notice if you can sit completely upright. If we're tight in our hamstrings, sometimes what happens is our tailbone tucks under and our body slumps because we don't have the flexibility to sit straight up. So if that's you, you can bend your knees a little bit and even maybe roll a little towel or two under each knee so that you can sit up nice and tall. Arms are out to the side. We'll just begin to side bend from side to side, lengthening through the side waist at whatever pace feels good for you this morning. So we're opening up the waistline, but each time we move from side to side, we're stretching that leg hamstring just a little bit more as we're taking our torso toward the leg. So the shoulders are level and even as if there was a wall behind our back. And now we'll add a little rotation to this. So as you begin to side bend, turn your body toward the thigh and reach out. Come back up and turn your body toward reach. This not only stretches the hamstring a little bit differently, but it also stretches through the side waist, the middle back, and lower back a little differently as well. So it's forward flexion with a little bit of rotation. Let's take one more on each side at your own pace, exhaling into the stretch. And relax. We'll take the right leg and bend it in toward you so that the sole of the foot is towards the left inner thigh. If you are super tight in your hamstrings, I have a blanket behind me. You can lift your seat up and sit up on top of that blanket and might give you just a little bit of extra room to stretch. And then grab hold of your strap, place it under the bottom of your left foot. And again, the ball of the foot. Sit up nice and tall. Draw the shoulders down. As we're using our strap, we want to make sure we're not hunching up or being tense in our muscles anywhere. So with the breath, we'll move into Janu Shirsasana, which is our single leg forward bend. So inhale here. Then as you exhale, let your belly drop forward over that thigh. Flowing with the breath, inhale. Exhale. And one more time, inhale. Exhale and hold. If you have the flexibility to reach the foot, the strap can come to the side. We can lengthen the fingertips out towards the ball of the foot. So right now I'm trying to get my torso to be as squared over that left leg as possible. I'm also getting a nice hip opener here on this right side as the knee opens out towards the mat. Now, if you're using your strap, hold it in your left hand and try to place your right elbow or your left elbow down towards your thigh. If you're not using your strap, you can take the peace fingers of your left hand and thread it underneath your ankle, right above the heel, and try to bring that elbow in towards the inner thigh. We lift the right arm up and open out here. So I'm rotating my chest, bringing my gaze up to the sky. And then some of you might have the flexibility to take the right peace fingers and bring them over and find that big toe. That's one of those stretches. Maybe someday I'll get there. But we take it to whatever edge we have and breathe. Two more breaths. And then releasing that arm down. Releasing the strap as well, or underneath the bottom of the foot. And now turn your chest right to the center and walk your fingertips forward. And see where we can stretch this for our hamstring and lower back. So a block is also a nice tool to have here. Maybe we can get our elbows to come down to a block or to the mat. You can also really reach and elongate the fingers out like a downward dog position out in front of you. And some might be able to get the forehead down to a block or two stacked fists, maybe even the floor. And one more breath. And as you exhale, begin to press yourself up. And we'll extend our right leg back out to straight in its original position. And bring the bottom of the left foot to tuck it in towards the inner thigh of the right. Strap if you need it. This is a little tighter side for me. So I'm going to go ahead and place that underneath the ball of my foot. And we're bringing the entire torso to face that thigh. This leg too, if it's floating up a little bit like mine is, sometimes it's nice to place your block right underneath the outside of the knee. So 3 breaths. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale and fold over that leg. Inhale, back up. Spine is long. Exhale, maybe a little further. One more, breathe in. And exhale, find your edge. If you don't need the strap, hands can go under the bottom of the foot. But we try to get this right leg as straight as we can. And a nice long spine too. Not too much curve in your lower back. Notice the sensations you're feeling in the stretch. Breathe into those sensations. And then if you're using your strap, you'll hold it in the right hand and try to bring your elbow down towards the inside of the thigh. If you're using the peace fingers, we take those 2 index and second finger, feed it underneath the back of the ankle. Try to drop that elbow down and reach the arm up. Stretch open. Or let the fingertips float over, bringing that arm towards the ear. And see where they land. And breathe into the left side waist. Right thigh is active. Two more breaths. And let that arm rise up. Release the strap or the fingers under the bottom of the foot. And then turn your torso directly towards the center so it's balanced in the hips, and walk the hands forward. Using your block if you need to, maybe placing your elbows on top or resting your forehead. And just seek your edge here. See where you can go on this side. Notice what you're feeling. Sometimes the lower back tends to be tight in these hamstring stretches. Notice your left hip, your right hamstring and calf, and your inner thighs as well. Two more breaths. And then begin to walk yourself up. All right, clear your mat of your props, and we'll move into a downward facing dog, which should feel really nice and open since we've been pre-stretching those hamstrings. So spread the fingers nice and wide. Bring your knees and your feet to parallel. Tuck those toes under and lift the hips and let the heels drop. And then take your feet and walk them maybe 1 foot's length toward your hands. And try to press your heels down. Again, walk your feet maybe 6, 7, 8 more inches forward. Now, if your hamstrings are tight from here, you might need to be bending your knees. or placing your block underneath your hands. And then one more time, walk your feet up, maybe about 8 inches. That might bring them right underneath your hips. Forward bend. So if you are super tight, you'll need the block right in front of you under your hands. We're going to place our fingertips down to the floor. Come up on the balls of the feet and sink down into a squat. So this is any amount you want to go. I have a fair amount of arthritis in my knees, so to do this sometimes isn't very comfortable. So you just go as low as you feel comfortable going today. And then as you exhale, straighten your legs back up and drop your heels down. Now, if this is still a big stretch for you, if you're on your block, stay with fingertips. Otherwise, let's try the knuckles. Come up on the balls of the feet, bend your knees, come into your squat. And then press up, 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 dropping your heels down. And you reach the ground and get your legs straight. If not, you're staying where you are. If you can easily, try placing flat palms to the mat. Lift up on the balls of the feet, bend the knees, squat. Ooh. And raise up, drop the heels. And then I think a couple of you might be able to go a little deeper yet. So your hands will move back next to your feet. Come down into your squat. Oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to accomplish that. We'll see. And then back up. Pressing your heels down. Forward bend. And then let your fingertips start to walk up your shins to half lift or half forward fold. Soften your knees a little bit, sweep the arms forward and upward, reach and extend. Press palms at your heart. And we'll take the left foot and cross it behind the right. And I have both of my feet turned out a little bit. I'm going to come on a slight angle here. So squeeze your inner thighs together. Your feet are staggered. Take a nice big breath in. And then slowly swan dive into forward bend. If you have a block and you need to place it under the fingertips, have it right here for you. But we'll try to take this forward bend with straight legs. And then the leg that's in the back, I want you to push your hip into that side just a little bit. As we get the hamstring and the IT band of that back leg, the left leg. Let your head relax and sink. If you feel you have enough balance, you can grab opposite elbows here in a staggered ragdoll pose. Releasing the hands, rise all the way up, either rolling up or reverse swan dive. And press the palms. And we'll switch the feet, left foot in front, right foot crossed behind. Hips are level, right in the center. Inhale, reach. Exhale and slowly fold. Hamstrings lengthening, hands can come to a block or lower to the floor. And then push into this back hip. I'm slightly sending some energy there. You'll feel this down the outside of the hip into that IT band. And if you feel you have your balance, you can loop your hands on your elbows and hang in ragdoll. And release the hands, either rolling up or reverse swan dive, come up. And palms to heart center. Then we'll bring the feet to parallel, so they're both facing forward. And you can have them tight together if you like, or hips distance apart. Inhale, reach. And fold into that forward bend. So a block is there if you need it. You can come back down to the floor, relax the head. Shake it up and down, side to side. Releasing any tension in your shoulders, you can grab opposite elbows to hang in ragdoll. And one more breath in. Exhale to release the arms, either roll up or soften the knees, reverse swan dive. And exhale. Step out wide into a wide leg forward fold. So this distance that you take your feet is entirely up to you. We have our feet parallel to the side edges of our mat. Reach, inhale. Exhale and dive down into our wide leg forward fold. So sometimes once we get here, we can start to widen the feet. See what feels good for you today. Getting the hamstrings to stretch as well as the inner thighs. Now, if you have that block and you need to use it, set it in the center. And we'll place the right hand on top of the block and twist open to the left, reaching the left arm up, or just placing your arm behind your back. Whatever feels good for your shoulder here. If it bothers your neck to look up, you can look down towards the right hand. You still get some rotation of the cervical spine. And then we'll lower the left hand down to the floor or to the block. It's right about in the middle, rotating open to the right. So our goal is to see if we can get close to stacking our shoulders in that twist. But for you, wherever your range is perfect for today. One more breath. And lower back down right to the center. Sink this as deep as you feel comfortable. Some of you might be able to place the top of your head to a block or to the floor. And with the hands, many options. You can reach out, take hold of the ankles. You can reach the arms way out to the top of your mat in a downward dog. But you can also reach the hands underneath your legs with the palms down, pulling yourself downward towards the floor. And it's okay if those knees are bent somewhat. They don't have to be perfectly straight. And we definitely don't want to lock them out in any style of a forward bend. And we're just here 3 more breaths. And then just begin to press yourself up slightly. If you have your block, move it over to your right side so it's ready for you if you need to grab it. And then start to pivot yourself around to that right side. And we have 1 foot in front, 1 foot behind. We'll try to press that back heel down to the mat. So for tight hamstrings, you have your block underneath your left hand with your right leg in front. So this is a little bit of a modified pyramid pose. Perhaps we can add a rotation, a twist, turning toward your, let's see if I'm mirroring you, turning towards your right. Reach that right arm up. And this is going to bring that stretch into the IT band as well as the hamstring on that front side. On the back leg, dropping your heel down nicely to the floor. You're on the ball of the foot, but feel that stretch in your calf. One more breath. And lower that top hand back down. Begin to bend the front knee, drop the back knee down to the mat. You can keep the toes tucked under or flatten your foot to the floor and rise up into Anjaneyasana, our low lunge. And then bringing the fingertips back down to the block or floor, straighten once again this front leg and shift back towards the heel. And we're picking up the foot on that front leg side. Now when we hold this hamstring stretch, many different ways we can do it. The back toe can still be tucked under. We can flatten it to the floor. We can keep the hips over the knee. We can sit back towards the back heel. Or we can slide into Hanumanasana, coming into a front split. And having your block is a nice tool for that. So we can place it right underneath the front thigh. So that when we slide into our split, we have some support here underneath the bottom of the leg. And we can lift all the way up. So you just decide where you'd like to be here in this hamstring stretch. No competition, just where you are today. And we're here 3 more breaths. You can be folded over that leg as well. And then depending on the position that you took, just come out of this the best way you see fit to come back into your low lunge, Anjaneyasana. And then to walk around to the other side, we'll tuck the back toes underneath, lift the knee up, walk the hands around through the middle, all the way over to the other side. Bring your block along with you. And we have both legs straight. Whatever stride length between your feet feels comfortable for you. And maybe the block underneath the opposite hand from that front leg. And you can stay facing forward if you prefer not to add the twist today. Otherwise, we start to rotate to the left side, reaching the left arm up. Now, if this is really a deep stretch on that front leg hamstring, you can go ahead and put a bend in your knee. This is a different pose, but you'll still get a wonderful rotation and twist. Otherwise, straighten it out as best as you can. Feel that lengthening in the IT band, hamstring, the back leg calf. Keep dropping that heel, sinking it down. One more breath. And exhale to lower the arm. Bend the front knee. Drop the back knee down to the floor. Either keeping the toes tucked under or turning them flat to the mat. Lift the arms and extend through the fingertips. Our low lunge. Nice release for that right hip flexor. And then we'll bring the fingertips down, begin to slowly start to straighten out the front leg. And then you decide where you would like to go with it on this side. So the foot is flexed on that front leg. You can stay right over the knee. Maybe fold the upper body a little closer to the thigh, or sit back on the heel, or slide out into your front split, maybe using your block as a little bit of support. And wherever you are, just enjoy and lengthen and breathe. 3 more breaths. And in whichever position that you took, coming back into your low lunge Anjaneyasana. Front knee is bent, back knee is grounded, rising up. Let's return to a downward facing dog. So hands come down to the floor, tuck the back toes under, press into the hands. So we've just been here one other time earlier in class. See how it feels as compared now in the length down the backs of the legs. Enjoy that length. And then we'll drop our knees to the mat, resting in child's pose, dropping the forehead down, lengthening through the hands. And then rise back up. We'll find a comfortable seated position. You'll need your block, perhaps your block, but definitely your strap as well, as we combine a hip opener and one more forward fold on each side. So we'll choose to have one knee bent, and let's take the left leg and bend it. I'm going to mirror you, so I've got my right leg out, and take this leg and cross it over into our half cow face position. So our goal is to get the knees to stack one on top of the other. And this really opens up the hips, sitting up nice and tall. If for some reason this is not a good pose for you, if it bothers your knee, you can come back to this one that we did earlier in class this morning. And then with your strap, lasso it under the bottom of the foot. This one can be quite a deep stretch, both in the hip and the hamstring. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, and come into whatever range of motion suits you today, and we'll just hold. We've got 60 seconds on this one. I'll pay some attention at the clock here. Just breathing in and out through the nose. It's difficult to use our 3-part breath here. So just an Ujjayi breath, that slow exhalation, nice whisper breath in the back of the throat. This stretch is a little bit easier achieved after having done all of our previous stretches. You might be feeling like, wow, I can go into this a little deeper than I have been in the past. We'll take one more breath here. And then pull yourself up. Unwrap that leg. Take both legs out to straight. Inhale. And exhale and fold. Inhale back up. And then we'll set this up on the other side. So keeping the opposite leg straight. Fold the knee across. Try to hug them tight together so you have a balance between both of your knees. And this foot here has a little bit of flexion to it. Our pelvis lines up with the leg that's extended out straight. With your strap if you need, take a nice big deep breath in. And exhale and fold. 1 minute on this stretch. So your depth in this stretch is going to be limited or dictated by the tightest link in the chain. So it might not necessarily be the hamstring for you. It might be in the hip or in the low back. So just notice where that tightest area is and try to deeply relax there. So we're not fighting this stretch, just surrendering, peacefully surrendering. And one more breath. Pull yourself up out of that forward fold, unwrap the leg, extend it out to straight. One more forward fold here. Inhale. Lead with your belly first. Reach out, and exhale. And inhale back up. Exhale, prepare to come back down on your back for our legs up the wall position, or if you're at home and you do have wall space for legs up the wall, feel free to come up against the wall. Strap is an option to place under bottom of both feet. We'll slowly roll down onto the back. If you'd like to elevate your hips, you can take your block, press up off the floor with the pelvis and slide that block underneath the sacrum, just elevating the hips a bit. Then if you're using the strap, it comes underneath the bottom of both feet as we extend them straight up. And again, if you're holding the strap, try to relax your shoulders down rather than being up here and pulling. I have my strap today actually looped around, and sometimes that makes it a little bit easier than having two separate ends to hold on to. Our legs up the wall pose is a good one to do every single day. But especially as we are in this scary time of illness and the pandemic, just keeping our immune system supercharged and ready to fight off anything that may come our way. So as we hold this, let your legs feel really heavy into the back of the pelvis. And if you'd like, come back to your 3-part breath. Inhaling belly, ribs, heart. Exhaling heart, ribs, and belly. And just noticing how you're feeling in the backs of the legs, in the low back, in the hips. So to give us the nice benefit from legs up the wall, we want to hold it for at least 3 to 4 minutes time. So we'll be here 2 more minutes for certain, unless you need to come down sooner. And just scan your body from head to toe, noticing if there's any gripping or tensing anywhere going on. The neck is relaxed, the eyebrows, all the muscles in the face, the jaw, around the eyelids. And check the shoulders to make sure they're not shrugging up towards the ears. And let gravity pull the fronts of your shoulders towards the mat. And as we continue to hold our legs up, just slowly begin to point and flex. You can do this with the strap, or you can remove it from your feet and a little bit more vigorously point and flex through the ankles. And then placing the feet down to the floor. If you're on a block, push into the feet, slide the block out from underneath the pelvis, and roll down slowly, 1 vertebra at a time, hugging the knees into the chest. And then you decide how you'd like to sit up today. You can either roll onto a side and press up, or you can rock back and forth a couple of times until you have the energy to rock all the way up on to the sitting bones. Coming into a nice cross-leg pose. Sitting up tall. Broaden through the fronts of the shoulders and through the pecs. And let's just tip our right ear towards the right shoulder, lengthen the side of the neck. And left ear, left shoulder. And back to neutral. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. We'll take 3 breaths together. Exhale, press it out. Inhaling all that is loving and good. Exhaling any stress. One more breath in. And exhale. And just press the palms at heart center. I hope you're feeling well after today's practice. The light and the love that resides within me honors the light and love in each of you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll pop off the recorder and I'd love to see your smiling face.